So, hey guys, Chauzu here. I have a bit of a sore throat, so we'll see how this goes. But yeah, they revealed the Sugofest for Killer and Hawkins. We can check it very quick. Obviously, this is not something you should pull. And from what I know, this is the same as every end of Mount Sugo. So there's really no reason to pull. The legend pools look pretty unimpressive as well. It's the usual ones with a big pool on part 1, smaller ones on part 2 and 3. And yeah, as you see, don't recommend pulling, but in the end, it's up to you how you do it. I will not pull personally, and that's a promise this time. I will pull, of course, on Treasure Map Sugo, probably on Kizuna. We'll see about PvP. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about Hawkins. And Hawkins is a cerebral striker psi unit with a super type and also a final tap. And very much like V1 Hawkins, this is V2. Hawkins is a bit wonky, so to say. He's definitely a lot better than V1. He's definitely viable, but he has a lot of weird stuff to his kit that we'll talk about, and we'll also look at PvP. But yeah, he does have Slotbind as well, and he has Fear. Fear will combine pretty well with his special. He also has a final tap that we'll look at later. It's actually very nice that he also resists special reverse, and this is very incredible, making Cyanide matching for Cyanide characters. That's one of the best sailors you can get, I'd say. Makes him very useful both on Psi and in teams. As for the captain ability, -1 CD, boosts Cyanide character attack by 5 times, 5.25 times attack when HP is above 90% or below 30%. Like, just why? That makes so little sense, but at least there's not a big difference in attack boost, which is both good and bad. Like, good because you won't notice it a lot. It's bad because 5.25 times is starting to get a bit low as well. Booster HP by 1.3 times, makes unfavorable slots have matching slot effects, and add +1 to special use count every time a crewmate uses a special, up to 4 times. We'll talk about that together with the special, but the best thing of Hawkins, I'd say, is that he makes unfavorable slots have matching slot effects. That's a very powerful captain ability. Even if in this case he just boosts Cyan characters, which makes it a bit worse. But basically it means that he has his sailor as a captain when you use a Cyan team, so that's still very good. But other than that, there's not a lot going on here, so we have to go and talk about his special instead. And his special reduces Cyan character special charge time by 1 turn and boosts their ores for 1 turn based on the total damage taken during the quest. Minimum 2.5 times for 0 or more, 2.75 times ore boost for 30,000 damage or more taken. And yeah, this is pretty much like V3 Sorrow. The numbers might be a bit higher, but it's basically the same. Take damage. And there's also a very small difference between them, so you don't have to go out of your way to take the 30k damage. Then there's a conditional if captain is Psi or in type. I've seen many people upset about this because they say like, why? But as you see, he's a damage nullification unit, and almost every unit that has that has some form of color or class restriction. The only exception is like Legend Robin, but Legend Robin doesn't do a lot either, so. But yeah, if captain is Psi or in type, Hawkins will reduce Bind and Fear by 6 turns, nullifies damage based on current special use count. So yeah, we'll get into the specifics later, but it does some form of damage nullification. he extends Q's or boost by 1 turn, and he can also affect the boost he uses this special. And after using a special, he sets his special use count to 0. So yeah, the main reason to use Hawkins as cap is this mechanic he has with his special. So basically Hawkins special functions like units who have very low CD or double special. But as you see, Hawkins doesn't have double special, doesn't have low CD. So that's my take at least, because my take on it is that this is just Hawkins' own specials used. But as you see, the way I take it is that if Hawkins is a sub, he can never get anything but the normal damage notification, because the way I see it, it only goes up when Hawkins uses his own special as a sub, and every time Hawkins uses a special, his special use count is set to 0 again. So that way, when Hawkins is a sub, he can never go to 2 to 3 or 4. So he can't get the better damage notification. But as captain, as it says, when crewmates use a special, you also get +1. That's just my take on it. We'll have to try it for sure. But I think he will be very OP if he has sub, could easily get the very good damage notification he gets. Because the way it works when Hawkins is gets the better damage notification is that if you use specials 2 to 3 times, you get an ongoing damage notification. Basically like gym-based captain ability V3. I think I call this the stack boost. I still use it until we decide on something better. So you keep a stack of 1 damage notification, then you will keep it until you take damage or until the enemy removes it. And if you get up to 4 special use count, you get a 2 attack damage notification. And what's also cool here is that if you run, say, double Hawkins, maybe this can stack as well, so maybe you can get up to 4 damage notification. That's something worth testing at least. Could make him pretty fun, but in general, the issue with defensive stuff like this is that it's very rarely any use in the current content we get. But it's a cool, unique ability at least, and bind removal nice. First unit in the game to remove fear through special. Bonnie does it through super type, but that's it, I think. So that's pretty dope as well. Fear can be pretty annoying. And Hawkins, of course, also can be useful for reducing CD and such. So that alone makes Hawkins worth owning, so to say. But of course, not a unit you have to get out of your way to get. As for the super type, you need one of the Burst Generation or Kaido. Reduces crew's special bind duration by 4 turns, boosts Saiyan in character attack by 2.5 times for 1 turn, and changes Sai characters to Super Sai. So that's actually pretty neat. Like if you go back to double Hawkins, you can potentially remove 8 turns of special bind without using a special. But it's a shame it's just 4 turns, would have been very dope if it was 5 turns. But at least you can combine it with like supports that remove a bit of special bind. They are rare, but it's possible. And a good attack boost to complement the ore boost, so Hawkins is a full package. As for the final tab, it's basically like killers, you get a lot of extra base attack, but for Hawkins you want higher HP, not lower. And it maxes at a bit lower value, but getting 60,000 HP is a lot easier than getting 1 HP that killer wants, so I think it's fair. Pretty easy condition to meet, and it will be decent extra damage, and will be relatively easy to max since Hawkins won't be a limited unit. Support is also godlike for Sai Cerebral. If you use a special, you get a 30% damage reduction and 1.75 times ore boost for 1 turn. Like, can't complain about that, that's just amazing. Let's go into the Rumble stuff then. As for the ability, side types, HP up level 6, attack up level 6, cerebral recovery up level 5, revive self up to 1 time at 50% HP. So starting from the ability, this looks decent, not super good, but salvageable. It lacks the depth, of course, that's the main issue. But sadly, the special doesn't make it viable. Target self for HP 20% reduction, so he lowers his own HP every time he uses his special, like that's might be fitting, but it's still very bad. When current HP is below 60%, targets all enemies for death down level 5. And that's it, death down. So basically, if Hawkins is above 60%, his special just does a self HP cut and nothing else. Like, I don't understand how Bandai finds that acceptable, but when current HP is below 30%, targets 3 high attack enemies for 80% chance of half stats, 10 seconds. In my opinion, that should be 100% chance of half stats, and it should be longer than 10 seconds, like 15 at least. So no, sadly, Hawkins not good in PvP. Let's look at GP stats though. Side types, attack up, HP, speed up level 3, cerebral, striker, crit, special CT, speed up, death up level 2. Salvageable, for sure, you can build 3 decent teams with that. Not the best, but when 6 enemies are defeated, so pretty realistic to use twice. Targets all enemies for 2000 damage, 100% chance of special bind. Target Psi and in type enemies for speed on level 10, attack on level 10. It's interesting, but I feel like it does too little. Special bind is nice, many resist it, but it's just a bit low, 8 seconds. Should have been 15-20 at least. But I'd say I will try him, but I will probably not pull him, so it will probably not happen for the upcoming Grand Party. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.